Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash, the show where we cut through the noise and show you how real estate professionals are using AI to win. I'm Rajeev Sajja, and every week I talk with people who are actually doing the work and building solutions and not just talking about it. Today's guest is Andrew Undem, team leader of Sure Group in Baltimore, Maryland. He speaks about how he's leveraging AI to build an influencer mindset to elevate his client experiences. He also shares what agents should be thinking about in an AI-forward future. Let's get into it with Andrew. Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash, and it is episode 101. And to kick off our next century of episodes, I have a rock star team leader, Andrew Undem from the Sure Group with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, HomeSale Realty in Baltimore, Maryland. Andrew, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me on. Look, I'm a fan of this podcast, and I'm excited to share it today.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. And you and I briefly connected in Asheville when we were speaking together. I kept track of your journey, obviously, but meeting you in person was awesome there earlier this year. But I know your team is a rock star team. You guys have done like over $1 billion in sales volume in the last 14 years. So, and I gave you a very elevator pitch of introduction. So if you could walk us through how you got into real estate and bring us to today.
Well, I was very fortunate to get out of college. I got a sales job right out of the jump. In the summers in college, I actually was selling cars at a place called Village Volvo in Bel Air, Maryland, if anyone knows where that is. And then when I graduated from college, it was 2009, weird time. I didn't really know what was going on, but apparently it was not the best business climate. And I got a job selling Porsches and Audis. It was like the only job I could get. So I took that job, underrated job, by the way, because I met some amazing people. The people buying Porsches and Audis are, they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And long story short is, I met one of my best friends there who went on to become a kind of a prolific sales consultant, and now he runs his own business. So I got a lot of training. And then I ended up meeting a sales manager from a national builder, which was NVR Inc., Ryan Homes, and she said, you should sell houses. Took that job, and I did pretty well working the model home deal. I did that from 2010 to about mid-2012, and then I got into the general brokerage world, started a team with a partner, and then we grew it, and he went off and did some more property management focused things. I grew the team, and that's where we are today. We have about 17 agents, handful of staff. Well, I'm lean. I'm all about lean. I don't like spending money unless I have to. We like to make the money, don't spend it.
There you go. Yeah. Very interesting lesson you talked about when you were like early in your journey. Recently, I had, your good friend Omar Rashid on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it's not common today to see young people. They feel like I need to make money. You need to kind of learn and get your skills down before you make the real money, right? And that's some of the lessons that you sort of talked about with your car sales. At least you had the right price point there. You were like on the upper echelon of car price points, right?
Oh, yeah. I remember selling like a A8, the biggest Audi they make, to the CEO of McCormick Spices.
Oh, wow.
Anibal Basu is a kind of a famous economist on NPR. Sold him a car.
Yeah.
So I have fond memories of those days, but it's not the most glorious job to say, oh, what do you do?
Yeah.
I sell cars. But hey, look, for any young people out there, if you're seeing this, that's a great place to get some experience, because they'll hire anyone they think that can sell the cars.
Yeah.
And it's just pure sales. It's almost like real estate is, where people come in, find out what they want, and just give it to them. And you have to do it in an elegant way.
For sure. So since it's an AI podcast, I wanted to kind of get into, what was your first like light bulb moment of what AI could do for you or your team?
It's funny. Okay, no one's asked me that, but I remember exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I've been a Gary Vaynerchuk disciple forever.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I've got all of his books, right? I remember he spoke at the RE/MAX convention back right when I just got into the business, and he just wrote that book, Crush It. And this is 2010.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So I've always followed him, and I've seen him speak many times, and I always regretted not jumping on the stuff he says to do early. So I'm like, man, this guy's right. He's right again. He's right with Instagram. He was right with TikTok. He's just he's kind of sees ahead of the curve, much like our friend Alan Dalton does too. He sees the
Sure.
future a little bit clearer than others. I remember Gary Vee at Tom Ferry's summit says you should buy Netflix. Didn't do that either. It was like $6. It's 100x since. So Gary Vee, this was, God, I don't know, remember exactly when it was, but he came on and he goes, I just experienced something that reminds me of the first time I saw email. He's like, this is even bigger than that. He goes, do me a favor, go to openai.com and start playing with ChatGPT. No one even was talking about it yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I'm just listening to him. I go, do it. I'm like, wow. It was not as conversational. You had to type it in. And I saw the AI for the first time, and I spent like 5 hours just like, oh my God, I can ask it literally anything. So I was like, this is going to be big. And then probably 6 months after that, the whole world kind of, everyone,
Yeah.
So I was semi-early adopter, but I'm still, there's a lot of things I should be doing that I'm probably not.
And we're all learning. We're all on our journeys. I mean, and fun story. You probably know this already since you were an early adopter. They launched ChatGPT Thanksgiving weekend. 3 years, by the way, this November. Mm-hmm. So it still seems like an early thing, but it seems like a decade I've been in this technology, like the way that it moves and the speed at which it moves. And I don't think they even know that how fast it was going to grow, going to 100 million users in like 60 days, right? Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Through the holiday season where people are maybe not as focused on stuff. So you obviously you mentioned you have 17 agents. You talked about your personal productivity and your team. You have a very amazing operations manager that I've heard speak as well, right? Is that her title? I don't want to butcher her title, but
yeah, she's the director of growth, but I'll probably just make her the chief operating officer. Riley is her name, Riley Kratzer.
That's right, Riley.
She's been phenomenal.
So let's take a few use cases that are really working for you to efficiency, productivity, growth, any areas that you want to kind of go into around all things AI for you and your team.
Well, what I found is, you can go down the rabbit hole, and thank God we have you, Rajeev, to experiment with all these things. You know about every different platform and all the different amazing use cases. But how I've been using it, it's what I found is it's baked into everything already.
Yeah.
So even if you don't think you're AI, you're not ready to take this leap, you're using it if you're using Gmail, if you're doing pretty much anything, like all of our CRMs use it. Every piece of our tech stack, whether it's Slack, Dotloop, Follow Up Boss, Bold Trail, the whole Google suite, it's all baked in. So you're kind of forced to use it. I've been a big user of Gemini.
Oh, yeah.
Just within, and you actually turned me on to Notebook LM, which I find very helpful when I'm trying to take multiple different pieces of things, put it together for my own opinion.
Yeah.
So Notebook LM I really like. Inside Gemini in the email space, they have that little button, read this email.
Yeah.
That's way better than, your grammar's wrong here. It's like, why don't you say it like this? And I'd say, I still always write my own emails because I don't want to dull my faculties, but a lot of times they'll phrase it a little better, move a paragraph around. And then as a video guy, I still like to, post a lot of videos and that sort of thing. Opus has been pretty helpful. It's not phenomenal. I wouldn't say it's, oh my God, this saves all your time, but it does give you a great starting point for video editing. But there's a litany of little things that I'll dabble with. Obviously, I got GPT on my main screen. I got Gemini, I got Claude. But Notebook LM that helps me personally digest information in what I call, and I learned this from Ray Dalio, who wrote Principles, the Bridgewater guy. He calls it believability weighted decision making, meaning when you're trying to make a big decision, which we're always kind of doing, should I do this, should I not do this? You find the 3 most believable people, triangulate them, get their opinions on it, and then make your own.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to be your neighbor. You get the whole world now, particularly even lightning quick with AI. And I say, well, let's see what would Alan Dalton and Mark Stark and Gino think about this topic. Put it in Notebook LM, QQQ, and then it spits out that report or however you want it. And I'll say, okay, that's it. Then I make my own insights from there, and it's very useful for thinking.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm a big fan of Notebook LM. I mean, one of the recent new additions to Notebook LM on the right side when you have a source is flashcards, right? You can actually have people take a test, literally, like policies and procedures. We turned on like all our policies and procedures into a notebook and did a 72 flashcards. See how many people got stuff right. So you can make it a little learning as well for things that you want to learn about. Notebook LM is killer, yeah, for sure. And to your point, I mean, getting the and you and I briefly talked about it maybe at Nashville where we were talking about creating an AI board.
Yes.
Right. And I have it as a ChatGPT project. It can also be a custom GPT if you want to share it with others. And I have like, Sharon in there. I have Elon Musk, Simon Sinek, Gary V's in there. I have a 6-person board where I can bounce ideas off. So it doesn't have to be just like efficiency stuff. It could be strategic, to your point, believable people, things like that. Right.
Hey, it's funny you mentioned that. So Sharon is the one who turned me on to this. He
Yes.
shared his custom GPT with me, which was, I think he called it Personal Board of Advisors.
Yeah.
And it was like, name the names, right? But he had
Yeah.
a pretty good list and he primed it just right. And I do find myself every once in a while, it's fun just to play with.
Oh,
What
100%.
what would Kobe Bryant, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett think about this? And it's like, okay.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, it's such an easy thing to build, right? Clearly, ChatGPT has the knowledge of these people, clearly. But what I did, Andrew, was I did a deep research project, whether Gemini or Chat, all of them have research projects. And I said, I'm building my AI board of advisors. Give me a document, comprehensive document for Sharon, Elon, whoever your top 5, 6 people are, with the idea that they will be my board of directors. So give me their tone, their experiences, all of their insights in raw form. Give me like a 10-page document. I put those 6 documents for my 6 board of directors. And that's the knowledge it pulls from versus just a random set of things. So there's so much stuff you could do. And I can bounce ideas off and be very strategic versus just being operational, right?
Yeah, it gets to the point where it's it's only limited by your personal thinking.
Yeah,
It's
imagination
like
for sure.
there's no limit. There's
no
no
limit.
limit to what these things can do, and it's moving at a speed. Like if you follow Evolving AI
Oh, yeah.
on Instagram, every week they're like, "Here's the 9 different things, breakthroughs." It's scaring people, and I'm not here to be the world's ending over this, but it is almost you can't quite even comprehend. The smartest minds who created these things can't even comprehend the levels at which they can almost think.
Yeah,
So we're at this is still just the red hot tip of the sword.
100%. I recently saw an article. Every week, to your point, every one of the large language models is releasing something new.
Right.
Like I thought, you have Gemini. You're a Google workshop company, like we are. So you could create 8 seconds really video with VO3 that is like so realistic you can't even make the difference. And then yesterday, or based on when we launched this episode, maybe a few weeks ago, Sora, which was OpenAI Sora 2 launched, and I got an invite code, and I created cameo videos with voice. I used to pay, my kids, your kids will appreciate this. If they appreciate some people that watch on TV, you could do a cameo video that you actually pay the actor to do the video and send it back to you. You can now do it with AI, literally. So I did a Sam Altman promoting my podcast cameo video. So it's like Sora is now better than VO3. To your point, every week there's a new model. And Anthropic, which is the Claude version that recently launched Sonnet, and I heard a report that it can code anonymously for 30 hours nonstop, fixing itself and making it better. And imagine kicking stuff off like that, or going and get a cup of coffee and going for a day off, and then you come back and stuff's done. It's crazy.
You just got to pick your projects carefully as real estate agents, and we're in that world. It's like, what do you use it for? And I know everyone, hey, you can write your MLS descriptions. That's old news, right? It can
100%.
It can make you a little bit more efficient, but you have to really deep dive on what do you want this thing to do. I'm excited about the video component on the creative side to drive traffic to a landing page to convert leads, and then even that AI's in every step of the way.
Yeah.
In your split testing and the conversational AI that you start having with the lead when it comes in, at what point do you hand it off to a human? And it is. So I talked to Alan so much about this because when he gets focused on something, he doesn't turn it off, and he's almost like a genius. I've worked with him closely on a number of different projects, but he's made some compelling points that are in his book. And there's a lot of stuff in the book, but there's like 5 or 6 things that made me go, this could be a problem. in every industry, if you're got your head on straight, like, yeah, of course it could be a problem. It could also be really good, and it is good. We're talking. There's a million things you can do for you that's good, but there could be some undertones that they cause issues in our industry, and that's I'm trying to skate to where the puck's going because if like Alan's career, he said this 20 years ago on film.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, pretty soon these portals are going to charge you tariffs." He was talking about tariffs before that was even the hot topic of the day.
Yeah.
And all we're seeing now is, there's lawsuits over it, but Zillow just takes giant 40% tariffs.
Yeah.
Or you have to pay a big monthly nut. He saw that coming a decade ago, and he had, I wrote down my five concerns. We can talk about those, or we can talk about the tactical stuff, but your call.
Yeah, no, we'll get into that because I think it's a good segue to how does a real estate agent survive, and not just survive, but thrive in the world of AI, right? I think that's where you're going with those 5 things. And for those of you that are listening, we'll put a link to the book, Agent to AI Gent, a link to that book that you can get from Amazon, which is a great primer to kind of read from thought leaders across the country, including Alan Dalton, of course. So, yeah, so let's get into that. I mean, I think to your point, though, there are certain things, although AI can do a lot of things, you got to pick and choose what it does to effectively give you more time to do the things that matter to grow your business. Right? I call it automate the ordinary so you can personalize the extraordinary. It's the last mile, your client relationships. If you pour into them, they'll never look anywhere else, right? So those are the things. But what are the 5 things that you've sort of gleaned from the world that we're kind of walking into with AI for real estate agents?
Well, I never even thought about these things, but I was in the book. I know you were in the book with Alan. He's a team guy. He always likes to pull people in. And there's all these tactical things in there. But what I admire about him is just how deeply he thinks about where the puck could go.
Yeah.
And he's just been right so many times. Like you just got to go back to prove it. Like it's old news now, but if you really go back, you go, oh, that was right. If you would have said in 1995, all real estate portals are going to start monopolizing all your money, people wouldn't even believe it.
Yeah.
So here's a few of the things, but I want to highlight your analogy there because it's so important, and I haven't heard this analogy before about that last mile delivery. That is the main thing, because all I focus on and why I'm not too worried about anything that comes is I'm so confident in my ability to interact with a human, and that's bond and rapport. This is psychology. This is making other people comfortable, and you'll never make other people comfortable unless you're comfortable with yourself. And there's an art form to that. That's never going to go away, and it all stems from influence. So I always challenge, the audience or whoever I'm speaking to in the real estate world is, can you influence the outcome of a transaction? Or are you just the person setting up the next step and letting everything else happen and you just give your clients the choice? That is not valuable to me. Yeah. My job is to say, when I'm on your side of the transaction, every single thing on that Alta or HUD, depending if it's cash or whatever, I'm going to win. And that's the type of content I'm trying to create, and using AI to help me help the clients. Okay? I don't need it just to help me for me's sake. I need me to be better at helping the client. If you're always focused on the client, less so about your personal efficiency, which the message is not be inefficient, ignore the stuff, of course do that. But I'd over-index on finding unique ways to convey compelling messaging that actually protects your client's pocketbook, because that's why you exist.
100%.
You're turning real property into cash. It's a weird thing. Can you turn a house into cash? That's your job as the listing agent. Can you help someone get equity day one when acquiring real property? That's really what your client cares about when they're buying a house. But we get so caught up into saying, no, I'll send you the addendum for the inspection, and I'll make sure here's a good mortgage person. Every step of the way, you can be influencing that.
100%. You bring up such a good point. I was listening to a keynote from Steve Brown, who was our episode 100 year 101, so last week, and he mentioned there's going to be 3 types of people in the world in terms of how we're going to see AI in the future. One is human workers. One is digital workers, which are like AI agents doing things in the background, and then robot workers, which is a whole other episode in itself. But what he said was the people that are going to win are the human workers that have the appropriate skills. You alluded to some of them: critical thinking, emotional intelligence, trust, all of the things that we somewhat sometimes take for granted, but if you protect that and you excel at that, AI is only going to propel you forward to do better and give you time to do some of that stuff. So that's really good takeaways for sure.
No, 100%. So here's the things, and this is in like the first probably 30 pages of Alan's book. These nuggets get distilled, but it does make you think. And if you're a critical thinker, you go, oh, that's something I might want to pay attention to. One is with, Alan's previous book was all on buyer's agency when all that was coming out. Still kind of a hot topic. It's been brushed under the rug just because the world moves on, but that's still, a major change in our industry that's fresh, just over a year. And with all of the buyer agency governance going on, Alan had predicted, and I believe this to be true, we haven't seen it yet, but these things have long legs. It takes time to really, see the data. More buyer's agents will go directly to the listing agent. We haven't quite seen it yet. Zillow, the lead comes in, buyers don't quite know what's going on. Buyer's agent can go in there. If they can create, a compelling value proposition, they might be okay. But with the governance, they're like, hey, you have to sign this agreement with me, and if the seller's not going to pay me, you have to pay me, and all that goes into that. That could be a big issue, particularly when the world's at your fingertips. You don't have to Google it. You can just talk, open Gemini, open ChatGPT, just start having a conversation. I bet ChatGPT would tell you, oh, if you want to save money, go to the listing agent and don't pay a buyer's agent fee. That's something we as an industry have to look, people are smart. Don't think the consumer is stupid, because they're not.
They're not, 100%.
So that's one thing. I don't have a solution to it. It's something I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So everyone knows, hey, you've got to get more listings, right?
Yeah.
And that's always been the case in our industry.
Yeah.
And perhaps now more than ever, hey, you want to be a dominant presence in your market, you have to be able to represent sellers. And Alan makes this great point, which is just hey, if the sellers, when they realize that the buyers don't need a buyer's agent, maybe the sellers start thinking they don't need a listing agent. If my opposition doesn't have counsel, why do I need counsel? Which leads into the third thing, which is, well, everyone wants real estate agents to be the center of the transaction. I've heard that forever.
Yeah.
Every disintermediation, and even with the internet, with the MLS, with Zillow, that's always been a topic. But are we really at the center of the transaction? Now, I know I am, because I'm effectively influencing the outcome of every one of these steps. But I'm not sure if every agent feels that way. Of the 1.6 million, how many of them are really able to influence every step? I don't know. But are we the center of the transaction? Because the mortgage company could say they're the center of the transaction. The title company's got to transfer the title. The inspectors play a role. We play a role. There's so many roles there. So where does AI come into all that?
Yeah.
And then the other big thing is title. Huge business. And for those who don't know, in our business, the title company is responsible for transferring the ownership from the seller to the buyer. It's a big deal. Why that should be on blockchain? That's what blockchain's made for. It's a chain of title.
100%.
So these are some of the things that I just go.
So many industries can be disrupted with where we are in the current time, right?
Yes. So those are just big things that we need to be thinking of and finding ways that are good for everybody. But again, if it doesn't help the consumer, I wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah. I almost feel like, to your analogy, if the consumer is at the center of the transaction, let's just say, and you're sort of overarching influence on all things that touch the consumer, and that's the last mile, you're going to win if you can master that, right? In all things, and there's no better example that I know of than you and your team that have you've been on a journey. Every time I hear you speak about clarity of purpose and how you make the consumers win with that influence. So keep up the good work, man. I love following your work and all the things you've been doing in Baltimore. And you're too close for us to not meet in person.
It's just up there.
No, yeah, I know, and I'm in a podcast studio here, and we could have recorded it live. Maybe version 2 of Undem will do that.
Well, what's interesting, Rajeev? It's I don't think this isn't imminent. In 2 years, everything's going to change, but I do think Gen Z, everyone's getting older. 10 years from now, God only knows what AI is capable of, so we don't have to pontificate on that, because it could be, we don't know, but it's going to be, we know it's going to be something that's probably going to be awesome, and they're going to change things. This next generation, doesn't require the agent to advise them that much. Because I'll admit, I don't know as much as ChatGPT, okay? And no one does. And
Right.
now you can just talk to it, and they're coming up with it. It was like Facebook for me, or when email came out, or internet.
Yeah.
They're innate dealing with this. So do they need advice when they can get 100% factual, fact-checked, 50 sources, distilled, with Warren Buffett's spin on it at their fingertips? Do they need your advice? No, but I do think they're going to need the ability to interpret the
Yeah.
advice they're getting a little bit and how to apply it in a way that's going to influence the outcome of a transaction. And I'm really big on that, because every day I have case studies on this. They did this, I did that, because of that, we did this, we made 7K, saved the buyer 20. And most people wouldn't do that because it's interpreting the ones and zeros flying around.
Yeah, no, 100%. This has been so fun, man. We could talk for hours on this stuff for sure. So I want to kind of end. Anything else you want to add on AI stuff before I end with a couple of questions I ask all my guests?
No, I've just got to tell you, I'm excited, and I think playing with this stuff is good, and you got to keep playing with it. And if you watched even 10 of Rajeev's episodes, you'll find 5 or 6 things you could do right now that are going to make your business better, undoubtedly. There's things you're not doing because it's overwhelming. Not overwhelming anymore. Just click and go. But I just would encourage you to think, when you're leveraging the AI, of course, find ways to make yourself efficient, but focus on ways AI can help you help the client, not just
100%.
help you. Because that is where you're going to be more valuable. Because no one cares about you being more productive besides you. But everyone cares about their outcome. So I just say, don't get lost in the sauce of all the things you can do to save 10 seconds here and an hour there. Focus on how you're going to make people money, and you'll go to the bank yourself.
For sure. So before I get to the final 2 questions, look, if you're looking for a rockstar agent or team leader in the greater Baltimore area, absolutely reach out to Andrew. We'll put all the link to his social handles in the show notes. And you have your own podcast, Andrew Undem podcast. You have like 21 episodes. He interviews thought leaders. So if you want to get into Andrew's thinking on all the stuff that he talked about non-AI, you absolutely should subscribe to that podcast and I kind of keep up with Andrew. So here's my couple of questions I want to end with. You've been in the industry, 14 years now? Somewhere in there, ballpark? So if you had all that experience and you were to start real estate today, what would be the one piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
I would get so into sales training, the art of the communication and influence. And I still think it's lacking in our industry today. Like, I'm talking B2B sales, just sales in general. Doesn't have to be real estate. How do you connect with people? How do you set expectations? How do you uncover their compelling reasons to do what they want to do? How do you uncover their budget? How do you identify decision makers? How do you open a conversation, which is arguably more important than how you close the conversation? Really understand primacy, recency. Things that start well tend to end well, and things that end well tend to start well when you pick them back up. You have to understand the role that you're really in. Instead of trying to wear 50 hats, you get into this industry, you have to become a realtor. All this paperwork. You have to understand what your job really is, which is client acquisition, which comes into marketing. Then you actually have to service those people. I'm a sales first guy. Marketing's worthless if you can't close them. The paperwork's worthless. You can't get anyone to sign it anyway. So I'd go all in on just your ability to help people get what they want in a manner in which they'll say nice things about you on the internet in the future. That's it. And
that's awesome. Yeah.
I think maybe 90% is fair. Not 99. 90% of the industry should spend all their time on that and nothing else. Because if you get good at that, then you'll actually have the confidence to say, no, I need to talk to more people. And then you can put some AI and some systems in because you actually know what to do with what it spits out.
Right.
But I just think that's the miss.
And I've heard from a good friend, Jimmy Burgess, and several people have said this too. People that have the most conversations win. So if you nail communication and you're really good at that and you have more conversations, there you go, right?
Well, here's the counterpoint to that, Rajeev.
Yeah.
If you suck at leading the ship, people will never follow people they can't learn from. If you don't have the conviction of really knowing what this party should do to move forward, the more conversations you have, if you suck, it'll kill you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly.
Like all you're
100%.
doing is letting everyone know you're not that good.
100%. Have less conversation and get more training.
Have more good conversations.
There you go. Perfect. So here's my final question. Are you a book or a podcast person, Andrew?
Both.
Both. Okay. So if you had to pick, like, you can give me a book and a podcast, which one has been like very influential in shaping who you are?
In shaping who I am. Well, that's deep.
Deep. Yeah. We're a deep show, my friend.
Well, there's so many books that I've taken little bits from. The one that
Yeah.
comes to mind immediately right now is this book called Ishmael.
Ishmael. I haven't heard that. Who's the author? You know, remember the author?
Oh, I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's a novel, fiction novel, but it's very philosophical. It's about a monkey that starts talking. Okay, follow me.
Yeah.
He just talks about life and how humans should be living it. And it boils down to, are you a giver or a taker?
Yeah.
And you want to be someone who gives. And
Yeah.
Rajeev, you're a giver, and all the good people are, even if
Yeah.
they don't identify as that, you want to help people because you
Yeah,
understand
100%.
that's the only way, that's how the world works. If you don't provide value, you don't really have a job, you don't have a place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's some people, they just want, it's what's in it for me, 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 me all the time. So that book it's deep, but you go,
Awesome.
wow, that's a better way to live. So that's
Yeah.
one.
We'll put a link to that book in the show notes. The other book that came up is probably in the similar lines. I haven't read Ishmael. I'm going to put it on my list. Is Go Giver, which is, again, on the same lines as what you're talking about. Any podcasts that you want to kind of call out that's been influenced you?
The one that I listen to very regularly is, it's called, what's Alex Hormozi's podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Hormozi Nation.
Yeah, you're right. Name doesn't ring a bell. But we'll put a link in the show notes for sure for that.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, he's amazing. I mean, again, there's, you bring up a very good point too. I mean, the people that are successful doesn't mean they're smart by themselves. They kind of align with sources that are very smart in areas that they need to get smart at. Right? So like Sharon is a good example of that. Like, I consume his content. I consume certain people's content that are smarter than me in many areas that I want to get smart at. And that's where we go fast, and it's a great. Hopefully, that's what this podcast offers as we bring up guests.
Rajeev, I have to close with this. Sharon, when I paid him $25,000 in 2017 to be my coach, no one knew who he was back then. He was just starting TELUS. He was in the throes of TELUS.
Yeah.
The Douglas element. He sent me a pack of books. One of them was Ishmael. I had already read it.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, but then I liked him even more because I said, no, he gets it. This is not a real estate book at all.
Yeah, 100%.
And then as he stepped down from Real, he works with Alex Hormozi now.
Yeah, sure.
At acquisition.com. That podcast is called The Game.
There you go. We'll put a link in the show notes for sure. Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, Andrew, this has been fun, and I'm sure I'll see you around real soon in person since we're not that far away. I come to Baltimore not reasonably often since I'm on the Bright MLS board. I usually pop up there, so I'd love to pop in and say hello to your team. And thanks for your time, man. You're doing yeoman's work in Baltimore, and anything we could do and I can do to help you, just let me know.
Thanks, Rajeev. Keep going. Berkshire Hathaway is very lucky to have you at the helm. You're making us more tech forward and AI forward every day. So God bless you and Fox and Roach for letting you
Appreciate you.
the bull and run
Appreciate
with it,
you. Yeah. And Rod Messick is on an innovations group that I'm on. You got a great leader leading your company as well. So Rod's amazing. I love Rod. Yeah. So thanks for your time, Andrew. We'll be in touch, bud.
Yep. See you guys.